Hey guys, Nick Tian here. Welcome to my Let's Play of Return of the Obra Dinn. We're gonna be doing a couple of things a little bit different today, as when I did my earlier recording, I finished the recording and found out that my commentary track is completely gone. So I'm doing something that I've been thinking about, whether or not this was actually possible or not, which is edited videos on and add commentary on top. So in this episode, was basically going around and looking for a couple of items. It's been like 4 or 5 days since the last time I played the game, so I will admit that I wasn't as fresh as I could be playing this game, so I had to refresh myself with a couple of things. And one of the first things I wanted to do was to one of the things I did before I started out the game proper was I wanted to get a trophy for finishing the game without without finding everything. So and this was like 2 videos later that I finally figured out that I didn't record any commentary. So I actually found out one of the main reasons why I found out was actually because I needed to look at the previous video. And then in this previous video, someone very important comes up, which is Henry Evans. The spoiler for the next episode, but you basically find out that, hey, the surgeon's name is Henry Evans, and it didn't click with me that the person who gave you the book was also called Henry Evans. So that meant that Henry Evans was alive, and he was the one providing you with the information about what was the person who tasked you with the job of looking and figuring out what happened to the people on the ship. So one of the things that I wanted to that you kind of needed to know was, oh, if they were alive, where would they be? And of course I couldn't remember, so I tried to go through the previous video and was trying to figure it out. And lo and behold, I clicked through the video and was like, hey, why is my voice not here? And that was kind of the thing that clued me in that audio was not being recorded, and I had to redo the whole thing. So that's great. So I'm gonna go through that video again and then say that Henry Evans is from Morocco, and reminder to myself, Henry Evans is from Morocco. Morocco is, let's look it up on Google since we are not doing this live. Morocco is in North Africa. Alright, so Henry Evans, that's for the next episode. But in this, when I was playing through the playthrough for this, let's play for this episode, recording for this episode, I guess a couple of things. I was trying to figure out more on how to gather information, not just from the memories, but also from items in the stage. So one of the things that really popped out was this person called Timothy. Timothy Boutamant, I think. And the reason was because he had a tattoo of a woman on his right arm. So because of that, immediately was like, oh, okay, Timothy Boutamant. And I was looking around. I even looked at the scene where all the top men was above, and I couldn't find him. And I was lucky enough that one of the memories had a picture, and it was quite literally him with him in the picture, and then his arm was very visible. And I was like, dude, okay. Of course, I went through a lot of, going through a lot of memories and all that, trying to look for him, but I couldn't find him. So I was kind of kicking myself when I actually figured out that, oh, okay, his picture was actually in the book itself. So he was down, and then two more that I found. You needed 3 for like clear, right? So the other 2 that I managed to figure out were the carpenters. Um, the carpenters, there was only two of them. One is a carpenter and a carpenter's mate. So it was quite easy in the sense that you only had two of them, and I knew how they died already. So the only question was whether or not the first one that I keep seeing was Winston Smith, or the other one was Marcus Gibbs. And since it's 50-50, the only thing I just did was basically rearrange them once I found out Timothy. So it was basically just shifting them around, guessing and saying, oh, okay, this is this person and this is this person. Is it right? No? Okay, let's swap them around. And with that, just by swapping them around, kind of figure out, oh, okay, this is kind of who they are. So the lesson learned for me at this point is that, one, it's not just the hints are not just from the memories. Well, most of the hints are in the memories, but I shouldn't just look at it from what they're showing me. I should look at it as in, okay, what's in the room, where, who, or what is in the room as well, and from there extrapolate and say, okay, yeah, this guy's arm is in this room, in this memory, and from there you could say, okay, find the person with the same arm. I guess I should just not really sure I'm gonna figure this out or not, but so I'm gonna be looking for another guy, another tree. I'm gonna say another tree, but I don't know who they are yet. So the other people that I found, there are two sets in this episode, right? So another set of characters I found was actually Henry Evans, which I talked about in the beginning of the episode, which is that, yeah, I just looked through, just in my brain, figure out that, okay, yeah, he is here, he was here, and he was the one sending you the book. And of course, you know, playing it, sometimes you don't, in your brain, it doesn't click immediately, and that kind of sucks, so my bad. But he could have been one of the earlier ones that I found. So anyways, so what happened with the other two that I found in this group was actually the stewards, right? Because in one of the rooms I found out, so I was basically going through most of the maid's room, the first maid, the second maid, and all this, and then I was looking at the rooms, and I found out, okay, two things I found out. First, of course, is when you went into the steward's room, you kind of figure out, oh, okay, they are people who wear clothes which have long sleeves and kind of button up. Maybe cotton or silk, I don't know, but that's what it looks like. And a sari, I guess. Is it called a sari? You know, the cloth that you wear around the belt. And I don't think all the stewards wore that. I could be wrong. I might have to, you know, go through the footage again. But so you kind of knew that all the stewards will be wearing the same clothes, kind of the same clothes. And from there, I looked at the picture of okay, so I was looking at the video, so every one of them does wear a sari, but when you look at them, they also have the positioning as well. Like there's a captain steward, there's the first mate steward, second mate, third, fourth, and all that. A ship steward. So from there you could see that, oh, okay, does this mean that because the steward's job is to serve the person that they're serving, so does this mean that they will be standing right next to the person who is who they're, you know, under? And in the map, in the, you know, in the portrait scene, some of them aren't really standing like right next to who they are, but some of them are. So for example, I think it was the second and the third mate that was standing right next to who they were. So it was like, oh, okay. Immediately I could find out who it was that got it. So the people who were
authority of the East India Company and thus the Crown of England. I sentence you to death by firing line.
so the people who I found out
Mr. Wolf, when you are ready.
are actually,
Ready, men.
let's see. So Henry Evans, right? First off, he's still alive, so I need to put him in Africa because he's in Morocco. There's no North Africa or South Africa, so it doesn't matter. And I'm guessing with the future, like people who have disappeared, this is how you put them as well. That they would have, when they left, you could say like, okay, what is the closest land that they could swim to or row to or whatever, and this is where they'll be. I'll figure those out later. But anyways, the other two who were found were actually not the fourth steward, because I didn't know how he died. It was the second mate steward, Samuel Gallagher. And so for him, because I also knew that he was killed by the Itbeng Xia, so okay, we found that out. And then the other one was the third mate steward, who was crushed by a loose cannon. He was probably the most unfortunate, that just something fell and then crushed him. So from there I kind of knew, yeah, so Roderick Anderson is the third mate steward. So yeah, so after this I probably look for someone who has the bell on him, and that kind of thing. So I think that's pretty much it for this episode. So finding two sets of like mysteries on the ship. So I'm almost halfway there. I'm still quite a ways off. I think I'm like at what, 21, solved 21 cases. So I still have like another 39 left to go. So 13 sets of cases left to go. But anyways, this might be a one-off episode of the way I do this, because I actually forgot to record the commentary on top of the gameplay. But if you would like to see more of this kind of commentary versus the one that is like, oh, I'm just playing and I talk over it, because maybe with this kind I can actually think back and explain things a bit more about why I did certain things. But yeah, if it's any one of those things that you feel like, oh, okay, this is how you feel like this is better or not, do let me know, and I'll try and maybe do more editing in that case, or if this is the more interesting version, do more of this version. If the other version is much more interesting, I'll do more of that version, and either or. But anyways, but yeah, if whichever you prefer, put it down in the comments and let me know. And with that, that's it for this episode of my Let's Play of Return of the Obra Dinn. And yeah, and I'll see you next episode. Bye bye.